FaceTime moment number 8. Today so for the past 7 videos, the first 7 videos, I've mostly been speaking from my heart as I feel led to say what I have to say. But today I've been instructed to speak on a specific topic. Why exactly? When you that is listening, you that this video will come across, you that will click on it, you that will stay on it, pay attention to everything I'm saying, will understand exactly why you are listening to it and why you needed to listen to it. That I believe. So today I'll be talking about the science of the valley. And if you have been following, you know I always talk about there's no visibility without valley. Between every two mountains, there is always a valley in between, and it's because we don't want to sit in that valley that we miss the visibility that comes along, or we have the visibility but we are unable to navigate through properly, which is why, especially in a digital world where we live today, that everybody knows that in order for you I call it positioning yourself for visibility, for people to know you exist, for people to know you are offering a service or a product, you have to use social media. But most of us are not prepared to handle what comes with it, which again comes with capacity while expanding, but without building the required capacity to handle what comes with it. So whether it's a negative comment, it's people criticizing you, it's people insulting you, it's people telling you how to do what you know you should be doing better than you're doing it, and you start waving away from the vision you were given, from the mandate you were given, to start following trend, to start following what is working best for other people, especially in this age and with this our generation, that we have confused value with views. We think the more views you have, the more viral you go. That means the more valuable you are, which is not necessarily so. Yes, some people are making money with those numbers. Some people are uh, earning a living with it. But the question is, at what cost are they doing it? And most of them won't tell you. Most of them won't let you know. Most of them won't make you see the behind the scene. That's one reason. The second reason is, since 2019, that I've been on a journey of understanding what it takes to actually succeed, to actually build generational wealth, to close the gap between where I come from and where I want my children to be and their children to be. I've always listened to people, successful people, those that on having millions of views on podcast, subscribers, followers, and everything. Those that have built multi-billion dollar companies. And most people always be like, there's always this sentence most of them have is, most people talk about the success, but nobody talks about the process. People always talk about the beautiful part of the journey. They don't talk about the messy part, the night you're doubting yourself, the night you want to quit, the doubt you wonder if you're even doing the right thing, the night where you feel like you're alone, nobody understands, nobody supporting you, the night you're questioning yourself, why people are questioning whether you're credible or not. Like that messy process where you're in before they see the video, before they see and people are like, oh, people are just showing you the good part of their life. They don't show you the bad. The problem is not what people are showing you and what you're seeing, and basing your decision making and basing what your life can and cannot be based on what you see on a 1 minute reel, on a 3 minute video, whatever. The question is what you're willing to see, because regardless of what people are showing, when it comes to me, what I realize from the first day, whenever I hear what somebody has accomplished in life, the level of success somebody, I'm only interested in the story behind it. So many of us are complaining at the reasons why life is struggling, because people are selling a dream, but they don't sell the process they go through to have the dream. But that's not true. Most people are sharing it, but most of us are not paying attention to it, because we need someone to help us believe in the dream so hard that we forget that there's a process that comes with it. That's what the valley on this page is all about. Yes, there's a visibility, there's the influence, there's the fame, there's the money that is there. It's not that it will come, it is available. But in order to access it, you have to be willing to go through the valley. I just read a devotional this morning talking about wisdom being the principle, the foundation of wealth creation. And in the devotional by Apostle Grace Lubega, if you know him, he's a man I honor and love. And I listen to him. I've been listening to him for close to 3 years now or more, I don't know. He talks about the fact that if you seek to have wealth without wisdom, you're on a path for self-destruction. And that's what most of us do. Not because wisdom is not available, but because we want the soft life, we want the easy life, we want the shortcut, we want it to happen in 1 month, in 1 week. I've been on this journey for almost 7 years. Piecing things together, putting structure, organizing things, putting order, understanding the language of wealth, understanding how wealth is attracted, understanding how wealth is multiplied, like how money is multiplied, how money is managed, not just by using strategies, not just by using system, not just by using a bank or an investment something, but understanding that it is based on wisdom, and that wisdom is in you, is built through you, is yourself, because you carry the Spirit of God in you if you're born again, of course. So, but the sentence that I wanted to read is wealth without wisdom. In the devotional he wrote today, wealth without wisdom is temporary, but wealth built on wisdom has an enduring legacy. And if you know, we're all about legacy on this page. We're all about not just surviving, but outlasting, because God didn't create you this beautiful being that you are just so you barely or merely survive life. So every season after another you're just surviving. Every time they ask you how are you, I'm just surviving. At least I'm surviving. At least I survived. No. You're called to live an abundant life. That's not the language you should be using. That's not the language as a visionary leader that is willing to build something beyond yourself, but by starting with yourself should be having. That's not the language you want your children to have. And if you don't want them to have, then you have to just changing it before they start picking it up, whether or not you're already having children or you're planning to. So coming back to the science of the valley, there are three things when it comes to building anything in life. There's I don't know if I should call it stages of um, the stages of success, or the stages of growth, or the stages of building. I don't know what to call it, but this is the revelation I got, that three phases or stages will go through. The perceiving stage, because when three things: perceiving, conceiving, and receiving. And this is used in the context of ideas, in the context of thought, in the context of creativity. It can be when you perceive an idea. Like I will take an example. When I perceive the idea, like recently I was doing babysitting, and I realized that where I was, there are so many children who so many families, and because of the school system and everything, that have problem with who take their children whenever the school is not available, because you can just wake up one day and tell you, oh, today there are no teachers, if possible please keep your child at home, and you are working, you're doing this and all of that. So when you perceive an idea, you have a business idea, you have an opportunity. The perceiving stage is like you are perceiving an idea, which means you notice something, you sense it, you recognize it, you become aware of its possibility. It can be a problem in the society, it can be an opportunity in the market, it can be something that could be improved. You perceive it. When most of us perceive it, we jump to the receiving stage. We jump to what will come out of it, with the money we'll make, the fame that will come, the visibility, the number of views, the number of followers, whatever context you're in, the profit that will make. If it's a business idea, the profit that you make out of it. That's perception. Just like when I perceive that there's so much about success people don't know, We know the successful people, but we don't understand the science behind or the art behind what made them successful. And when I've listened to most people that have even made billions, when you want to listen, and because when I'm listening to somebody, as I said, I'm interested in the story, I'm interested in the principle you applied at every stage that got you to where you are. I realize that most people don't even know exactly what made them successful. Yeah, they know what they did, but if you ask them to teach somebody, they cannot transfer that knowledge to another person. That's something I call the wisdom to be able to look back and draw out of your life what made you to where you are today. That's the science of the valley, because most of us go through the valley, but because we are so focused on surviving it, on getting out of it, that we don't take time to explore and to draw from it what made us, what helped us get out of it, so we can stay out of it. Which is why you get out of something, but you're back into the same problem the next year, the next 2 months, the next week. Why? Because yeah, you had a money problem and then you were just thinking of how to solve it. Maybe you borrowed money from somebody. You didn't think of how can I make sure I don't have to have this need again in my life. So there's a perception of a problem, there's a perception of an idea, there's a perception of a possibility of an opportunity of something that can be improved. That's perception. Now conception is really where the valley is, because conceiving it is like becoming pregnant with something. That's where most of us miss it. Because conceiving is about forming it, it's about organizing it, it's about developing it, it's about giving it structure and meaning. But since most of us are so in this survival mode, we're just trying to make it, we're just trying to show that we too are moving somewhere in life, even though we're not really progressing, because there's a difference between movement and progression. You can be moving every year, every day, every month, but you're not progressing because you keep recycling back to the same problems again and again. If you want to know whether or not you're progressing in life or you're just moving, ask yourself, are you still facing the same problem you were facing 2 years ago? Are you still complaining about the same thing? Are you still seeing, I want to say seeing, are you still seeing the same things you had the first, like you started a business and you had this problem, 10 years later you're still on the same problem, but even though you've made more money than you made since you started, even though you have some things that are showing you like that there's a change, but there's been no transformation. That's another difference. There's a difference between change and transformation, and I remember I said I will one day dive into that, the difference between change and transformation, because change is a moment you can, and change is based on decision. I decide today to make this video, I've made it, but whether I will keep making it depends on how transformed I am. That's where people will be like, it's difficult to be consistent, it's difficult to stay committed to one thing, it's difficult to be disciplined. Why? Because you've just changed, you've decided that from today I'm going to the gym. But do you understand? Because transformation comes from understanding. Do you understand why you should be going to the gym? Are you going there just because you heard that to be healthy you need to exercise your body? Are you eating healthy because you heard that in order to be healthy there's certain kind of food, and then you eat it 2, 3 days, and then after that you fall back again into something else? That's what keep us from, because every decision has a required discipline and a required diligence that comes with it. But most of us decide, but we don't have the discipline to stay on those decisions and the diligence that will help us. And that's the difference between changing and being transformed. This was not part of what I was saying today, but somebody may have needed it and he needed to come out of my mouth. So coming back to where I was before I entered the difference between change and transformation. Now that, what was I even saying? Yeah, we were on conception and saying that conception is about forming, the idea being formed, developing it, organizing it, giving it structure and meaning. And it is in this conception stage that we are supposed to put structure and meaning to certain things, so that when we enter the receiving stage, we don't struggle. This is where I talk about most of us plan, but few of us prepare. Because you've perceived the idea, you've planned it. But the preparing, what you're supposed to give it structure, you're supposed to give it mean that will help you navigate the receiving stage. You don't. So you plan to have a child, you plan on where to get pregnant, you plan on when to get pregnant, you prepare for yourself mentally, maybe of you can even prepare about how you have an idea of what being pregnant, even if it's your first time, you have an idea of what many women go through when they're pregnant. So you have psychologically, you've prepared a little bit about the process of conception and carrying the pregnancy till term. But few of us prepare on parenting. That's just an example. You can use it in your business, you can use it in your personal life, you can use it in any area because it's a principle, it's not a practice. Few of us prepare on what it would take to actually raise that child. Which is why after giving birth, some people go into depression because there's so much to handle. Your body is still readjusting to normalizing the fact that you're no more pregnant, and then you have a child that depends on you, that needs you, and then it's not like it's the first few months, not like it's the child, because it's a lifetime journey. Because when you're a mother, you're a mother. It doesn't matter when your child is already 50 years old, you're still a mother. That's why I usually tell my siblings that I want people to understand, because at times they will be like, why are our parents worried in this way? Why are our parents saying this kind of thing, even though they're already grown up and everything? I'm like, you need to understand something. To your parent, you're still that baby that the first time you came out of to your parent, the first time they gave birth to you, they carry you and look at you like this. It doesn't matter whether you're 15-year-old today, 20 years old, 50-year-old today, you are still that baby. When they look at you, that's the baby they see. They don't realize that you've grown up. Yeah, they expect you to be responsible. They know you've grown up, but in the heart, you're still their baby. So parenting is not a moment. It's not a change. It's a process. There's a transformation. That is why parenting changes even you, the parent, as the child is changing. So it is in that conception, especially of ideas, of thoughts, of the things, of the vision you have, in that conception, where you're supposed to give structure, you're supposed to, in that conception phase, you're supposed to think about, okay, yes, I'm pregnant, I'm grateful, God has given me a child. I will give birth without any problem. But what will happen? How am I positioning myself when I receive that child? How am I positioning myself to make sure this child grow up the way God intended? To train that child the way he should go, so that when he will be old, he will not depart from it. We do it with every single thing. Most of us who are single, who are prepared, we think of planning to get married, we think all on the wedding, the dresses we wear. We forget that after that there's a whole daily living we have to live with somebody in the same roof, sleep with the person, eat with the person, wake up with the person. But we think only of the visibility. I call it visibility because it's the places where we want people to see, want people to approve, we want the pictures we take on holidays, the things we post, the things we walk around, we forget the daily basis, the valley. And we don't prepare for that. We plan for the marriage, but we don't prepare for it. So there's the perceiving stage, there's the conception stage where structure needs to be put in place. And that is dependent on you, the life you want, and the vision you have for your life. So you cannot copy someone else's thing and want to place it in your life when you are not, first of all, the same. Yes, you can listen to them, but you don't have to copy. I heard there's something out there today that they said in school you shouldn't copy from people, but in real life you can copy. You can copy the answers from everybody that is doing, but make sure that align to the vision you have for your life. Just because they're working for it doesn't mean they work for you. Because it is in that state, it is into that space that you are supposed to return to who gave you to the vision, to who gave you the vision, and sit with him, sit with the Holy Spirit. Okay, because the things I'm saying are things that okay. things that I do in my own life. I'm laughing because I was having this conversation with my father where I was telling him about how my mother has been behind my back that, oh, you're already 30 years old, you've not gotten married, you're not giving birth, you should think about age and everything, and the father you have to give birth. And I was just telling him that yes, but the problem is I need to consider certain factors. I'm living in a country where I have nobody around me, and I have to be working, I have to be doing A, B, C, D. So I have to plan ahead about not just the pregnancy, not just the marriage, but the parenting, the life that comes after that, and organize myself now and put structure and meaning because I'm planning, but I'm preparing too. And then my father told me that you're thinking like, my father told me that you think like a man. Ah, because in as much as I've perceived the idea of marriage, I've perceived the idea of of being a parent. In the conception of it, I have to put structure. And the thing is, these things are spiritually and mentally. It's not a physical thing. Because this is why I like to see most of us when we think about getting married or building relationship instead, that we think the first thing to do is to start connecting with people. No, the first thing to do is to prepare yourself. This is why this page is the one person. You are the one person you need. Before you start thinking of who should my spouse be, ask yourself, who am I as a person? Who am I as a woman? Who am I as a man? Who am I as a wife? Who am I as a husband? Who am I? You don't find a person before you define who you are. You define who you are before you find a person. In fact, it is who you are that define who you find. You want to be a business known in, you define who you want to be before you, and that doesn't take money. It takes imagination. It takes beholding what, when the Bible says, oh God, when I talk about conception, I'm not talking about things you have to do, actions you have to take. I'm thinking about who you have to be. It doesn't take you needing, you don't have to have somebody that will do it for you. You don't have to have someone that will support you. You don't need to have, at this time, you don't, leverage is not actually needed. What I call the vehicle, when I talk about the better life framework, what I call the vehicle, the money, the people you need, it's the vessel that you need to first of all focus on. Which is why I say many of us plan, but we don't prepare because we want the external thing to define what that thing should be. And when it doesn't happen the way we wanted, we start complaining. But what did you do? Which role did you play in it? Is the question you need to ask yourself. This is why I like there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about you're all allowed to judge somebody when your own obedience is complete. And that's not even about people. Put it in your own life. Before you complain about something not working the way it worked, did you do all you were required? Did you do all that was required to be done the way it was required to be done? Did you play your own battle? Because the Bible says if you fail the day of the battle, that means your strength is small. It's not that the battle was strong. The person you were fighting against, or so the one you were fighting against was stronger than you. It says because your strength was small. And that's not just physical fight. It is, if you're struggling in a certain season of your life, that means you did not prepare for it properly. That's how I understood that scripture. If you're struggling in navigating a season in your life because during the conception phase where you were supposed to give structure and meaning, you didn't put it the right structure with the right meaning. And without structure, no system and strategy can function properly. In fact, you may even have the right system, the right strategy, but without the right structure, it will not function because it is misaligned. If you have noticed, when I speak mostly with principle. I don't like to water it down to specific situation because we have so focused on practices, copying what, if somebody says the reason why I succeed in life because I wake up, I read, you think that you will go and do the same thing and just have the same result. And when it doesn't happen, you blame the person. No, that's the principle there is reading. The principles there is waking up early. Does it work for you? And if it works for you, in what way? Because the principle is reading. The principle is not the book he's read, it's reading. Which is why you might read a book that somebody read and make millions and you make nothing. Not because the book is wrong, that was not for you. Or maybe you did not read it with the right mind, with the right posture of heart, which is why you did not draw. But the principle first is reading. But we carry people results and the processes they went through and want to replicate it in our life without carrying the heart. Because there's a heart posture. You came with it with you work with it, you work for me. And you're not there to learn, you're there to just make sure that you do the same thing the old person, because you believe in guaranteed result. Because he worked for you, I'm sure he worked for me, so let me just do what he did, because I don't want to stress myself. Which is why I insist so much on structure and on principles. So if you're struggling in any season of your life right now, maybe the only reason is because you did not prepare the way you were supposed to. You planned for it, but you did not prepare for it. You did not put the structure that was required. You may be using the right people are there, you're making the right money, but you're still struggling. Why? Because structure. And structure is like the foundation of a house. If you don't have the right foundation, it doesn't matter the material you use or how big or high the building you're building is, it will collapse. That's how burnout starts. And the last stage is, that stage is level, the receiving after conception. And it can mean several things depending on the context in which it is. For example, you conceive a business idea, later you receive the profit from it, the feedback, the opportunities that come with it. Like in my own case, the idea of success that I perceive, and during the conception, I put some structure, which is why God led me into an institution, which is a structure in which everything you need in order to succeed that causes a need, you go through that structure. Now that in the receiving stage, I believe I am in my receiving stage where I am mostly now speaking about the things that should awaken you to the importance of focusing on yourself. There's a structure that is helping me do that because I have built something. I've put structure, which is the Manifesting Success Institute. That's an example. The other example, which is an example I've been using here, and that will be the last example I'll put it, as the firstborn in my family, knowing how my family is big and knowing the responsibilities that I have, not because somebody gave them to, because I choose to. Because till today, nobody is behind my back and telling me that's the firstborn you owe me, even my parents. But it is my way of saying thank you. That's how I see it. Like I said, I had to sit down and ask myself, I want my family and myself to be happy. And by happy, I mean to be able to live a life of ease, of peace, of joy, and fulfillment. So am I going to just look for the next thing to survive, or am I willing to sit in the valley during the conception and put some structure in place in such a way that it will help me and my family at the same time? But like I said, I had to be willing for all of us to go through a season of struggle while the structure is being built. Because when you think about building a house and when you think about having a house, depending on the country you're in most country houses are already built. But when you think about having a house, you think about the feeling of, which is good, the vision of how the house will look, how you will sleep in it, how the rooms will be. Like you think about the perception of how the house should be. But during the construction, which is the conceiving stage, there's digging that needs to be done. In some cases, there's even the house you have to destroy first before you build another one. So that's why the conception is about structure, is about developing, is about organizing. So there's messiness it looks like you're not improving at all. Like you have to destroy things, you have to clear some sand, you have to level up the ground, you have to. Don't ask me how I know. I grew up. They ha- my they have this, this is why I say I love my parents. The house we have now, when we're building it, my father allowed us to walk there, so we could see what will happen. That's the way my father, he likes to help to draw you into places so you learn how things are done before you enjoy the house. Know how it came about. So we'll be carrying the sand and everything. So there's leveling of the ground, there's digging, there's laying out of the foundation before you see the beauty of it. So most of us like that beauty, but we don't like the messiness that needs to be organized, rearranged, and structured properly before we receive it. Like most of us like getting pregnant, but most of us don't like the process of pregnancy. Carrying that child in you for 9 months and going through all the feelings that come with it, the day you're too tired, the day you want to eat this, the day you cannot sleep, all the things, we don't like it, but it is necessary. But what helps us stay is the beauty, is the receiving of that child. The day you give birth and they hand you your child into your hands, you forget about all the uncomfort, the discomfort you went through during the pregnancy. But the only problem is that most of us have stayed on that day that we receive it, that we have forgotten. We were looking for shortcuts to get there faster, quicker, sooner, just to lose it all. We're looking for the day we will have the child. We're not preparing for the day we're not preparing for the years we will live with the children. With the children. That as soon as we start complaining about how these children are so stressful, these children are doing this and that, they're doing A and B, we think we plan about the partner we have, but we don't prepare for the life we will live with the person. So every day we think the person should make us comfortable, things that you're supposed to do by yourself, for yourself, because it is your responsibility. Again, it is your responsibility to do the creative best you can with your own life. You're that carrying the responsibility of throwing it on another person. And until all of us, it's not a gender something, until all of us are willing to stand in the offices we are supposed and function properly. Going back again to the video I made about your misplaced identity. So until we are willing to understand the image in which we are made and the likeness and function in those two things properly, we always have this conflict of, you're supposed to make me happy, or they want to make me do this, or they want to make me do that. Things that were supposed to be your responsibility, things that were supposed to be your responsibility to put structure into it in the conceiving stage, before the receiving stage, you didn't. That's the science of the valley. It is the perceiving that push you into the conceiving, which is mostly where that valley season, where you sit there before you can seek about the visibility. And until you're willing to perceive, conceive before you receive, all you will do in life is survive. So the reason why most of us are just surviving, because we are perceiving and running into receiving without conception. Because if you put the right structure in place, if you put the organize things properly, the right structure and the right order, life won't be a struggle, at least not on a daily basis, because it wasn't supposed to be. So I pray it's a blessing to you. I pray I paint the picture the way the Holy Spirit led me to. And I pray you see the way He wants you to see it, in order for you to expand properly as you explore and evolve.